welcome to the 5th episode of Culturama, where we're bringing the culture and the drama, baby.
It's your co-host, Mizzy.
And your girl, LaChance.
And let's just start off this episode just kind of diving into what we've been up to this past week. We both are always busy, but what's something new happening with you, girl?
So I have been really busy working on a bunch of different gigs. I feel like something just happened recently and I'm blanking on it. Like we went out somewhere, we all did something. I don't know. Just know for me, it's been work, TV, and work pretty much.
I'm trying to think too, but I can't remember. I mean, we did a New Year's Eve delayed party.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and then after that, we kind of hung out, and that was a really good night.
Yeah.
I guess for me, like, you know, I just finished a really big project, and I'm super happy about it because it was a lot of work. And now it's like one thing off my plate that I don't have to worry about anymore, and I'm very happy about that. Other than that, I mean, working, we got a really big story coming out soon, so just stay tuned for the latest project. But so far, just like enjoying the moments, enjoying life, pretty good. I guess that would be my one update, one highlight, is that I finished that really big project.
And she'll talk about it when a project comes out. So let's get into it then.
I probably won't. Moving on to our topics for today.
What's today's episode, girl?
Today's episode, we're going to be visiting a place that I think everybody has seen, but we haven't
Some might even live in.
And have lived in for a while. And that is Sellout Central. Because it's high time we round you coon ass niggas the fuck up.
Time to pack you motherfuckers up and ship you on out of here.
Because this is just something that I feel like needs to be said.
I think it was important for us to talk about this in one of our episodes, especially one of our earlier episodes, because this is something that we often talk about. And I just think that we're seeing a really big disconnect between a lot of the generations and just the things that we as Black people have experienced. Like we're starting to see the disappearance of the village, the disappearance of unity, the disappearance of our communities in a lot of different ways and different aspects. And I think that when you think of these outside factors that are already coming in and making that shit hard, to know that we have people that's actually in our community that's aiding them and helping in that, it's fucked up. You a sellout.
And I do feel like too, I believe it was Martin Luther King that said this, or Malcolm X, don't quote me on this, but he was pretty much just saying like it's sellouts, it's like all of these different like fucked up people in every community. But I think like something that you said, we have all of these outside entities trying to exploit, kill off, or even just harm our community. And the fact that we also have people that look like us that are also trying to do that, it just makes things 10 times harder. And the reason why I feel like the community or village aspect in the Black community is gone now is because individualism has taken over. Like, it's really not even a Black or white issue. It's really the 99% versus the average Black person, because I think a lot of us look at these Black celebrities or Black entrepreneurs as people that are for the community and by the community, but a lot of them are just modern day capitalists and could care less about giving back to the community, uplifting the community, or doing anything for the community that would actually push us in a way of progress, and really just trying to take care of their own family and make a substantial amount of money to give back to their own family.
Yeah, I just think the reality is a lot of these celebrities who we in the black community look towards, and I mean, I'm not saying idolize or put them on any pedestal, but at the end of the day, who are known in the community, a lot of them have this rags to riches story.
Okay.
To be honest, the reality is that's kind of what's pushed it don't matter if you black, white, or whatever. This rags to riches story seems to be what people gravitate towards and hold on to because there's a relatability in that. Yeah. And so I think that when it comes to these celebrities that we put on this pedestal, or that anybody that we just look at as celebrities who, you know, market their story as this rags to riches, they do so under the guise of still holding on to their proximity to the community. But the reality is, if you've been rich for 20 something years, 50 years, but you only lived in the hood for 10, you can't talk to me about what it's like to be in the hood no more.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. I feel like a lot of rappers, some athletes, and just people that sell this sort of I got it out the mud, rags to riches story that you mentioned. I do feel like, you know, once you get to a certain point, you can't really sit up here and say, oh, yeah, you may know an area, like, you know, because you grew up there and it informed who you were from a certain point. But there does come a point in time where it's like you can't really connect to the community or the people there anymore because you haven't been there in over decades. Like,
you damn sure ain't going in these spaces.
Literally.
You're not giving back to the community. You're not hosting. You probably don't even own no property where you know once lived or grew up. And I just think that speaks volumes. And I don't know. As soon as I see a sellout, this is what I think. Put them tap dancing shoes on and get your jigaboo ass up on this stage and get the dancing, because that's what you're doing.
Right. And one person that I feel like did a really good job of being in his community, and it's unfortunate, but Nipsey Hussle. I feel like he did a lot for the community, and like even I don't know exactly what his philanthropic efforts was, but Young Dolph was another one. When he came to Memphis, people showed him love. Why? Because they see him often.
But I think specifically when you think about the cases of Nipsey and Dolph, it's like a double-edged sword. Because I do see why it's hard to be in those spaces, because being in those spaces, being them, I think that's where you run into these hating ass people, some hating ass niggas who can't stand to see another person's light shining, and they do exactly what they did in those instances, is dim the light. So I do kind of think it makes it hard for black people who have achieved a certain you know, you get what I'm saying, like they have achieved a certain bit of financial stability, success, and let's say wealth. It does make it hard for them to get back to their communities in that regard.
And I get that, but it's like I also kind of disagree with folks that say, well, you know, if you stay too long, like, you know, motherfuckers gonna be gunning for you. Because at the same time, well, I'm not saying that that's what you're saying.
No, I disagree with that. I disagree with that too, because I just think that that's unrealistic.
But it's also a way for you to have these sort of efforts to give back, and you're not necessarily always in the mix to where you could be harmed.
Right.
Like you buying an apartment building and or even making it affordable housing for your community, and you know that it's being gentrified, that would even do something. You know, a lot of folks be going, like when I lived in Chicago, a lot of people used to ask me about O Block, and it's like all of these successful people to come out of Chicago, and for that to be the pillar of the black community, and there has been no effort to like remedy it.
Right.
It's frustrating because that shouldn't even be a tourist attraction. People shouldn't even be asking about that, because it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation that people have been put in.
I think it just goes into capitalizing and privatizing off our trauma, which is what I feel like is what we're talking about here when we talk about these sellouts, because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. You're using your relatability, your relative ability to connect to proximity with people who are the average everyday people, and you're using that as if you understand, but the reality is, that when you get done running your mouth, somebody's cutting you a check, and then you going on about your business.
Literally.
While people are festering in that pain and the harm and just the lack of hope that they have from whatever it is that they're dealing with.
And that's honestly, I think that's honestly a really good point, because what's the difference between a corporation pandering to us, the Black community, during Black History Month every February, and you that do it anytime you're trying to sell something? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't try and profit off of some of your endeavors, which is why I said, if you own different properties and you're able to do it that way, okay, cool, you're still making money, but you're also helping out your community in some form or fashion.
Facts.
Or even helping folks or some of your tenants and stuff to eventually own a property. Like, do something to help niggas out, because it's just, if folks have this sort of crabs in a barrel thing and you're just kind of turning your back on your community, it's a waste, because the reality is you're not going to spend the amount of money that you're trying to harbor within your lifetime.
I always wonder, what made a person to sell out? Now, I know some people are raised and born and trained up into that coon mentality. Shout out Dr. Umar. That's my boy. Hey, he is so funny. I don't agree with everything that man say, but when he call you niggas coons,
I love it. Dr. Umar
power
for president.
to the people.
I feel like he do be raising some really good points and calling people out, because I think it is time for somebody that doesn't really have, he's more of an independent person, but some of the stuff he say be wild, but I like that he be calling folks out about their bullshit, because I just think it's annoying, because y'all want to sit up here and be like, oh, support Black businesses or do this or do that, and it's like, y'all could be doing a lot more than just selling us something.
Facts.
Y'all could be doing a lot more than sitting over here trying to make it seem like you understand where we come from because you're Black. Stop thinking every Black person is in your corner. And that's a hard lesson that I had to learn.
Coons.
Yeah, that's a hard lesson that I had to learn, because I felt like, when I was coming up, I was trying to look out for every Black woman that I came across, because I'm like, we in the same sort of situation. So, and it was a Black woman that publicly embarrassed me and made me feel like shit at one point. And so I just think, regardless of race, regardless of upbringing, sometimes you have to find people that are equally yoked as you, meaning they have the same mindset as you, and they have the same sort of ideas and things like that, because it's some white people that's out there that be calling folks out about they bullshit too, and that understand that the justice system is fucked up, that understand the education system is fucked up, and that have been working to unlearn some of the inherent bias and racism that they grew up in. But on the flip side, I think some Black people haven't unlearned some of their assimilation ways. Like, I just need to do what I got to do to get to the next dollar.
I see it as assimilation, but I also see it as got a bit of self-hatred in that too.
I do too.
I think there's a little bit of anti-Black in that type of thinking, in the sellout mentality, because it's something about that mentality that's like, that's not me. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's them, but I don't fall into this category. Or it's like almost they see if they sell out other people, it's a safety net over them. But it's like, why can't you see when you sell out one, you're selling out all of us? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just think that's a weird way people who are sellouts train themselves to think, so that they that they can separate themselves from, honestly, the distastefulness and the harm that they truly doing.
Yeah, and I think too, it isn't until that they are face to face with the fact that like they are the same and that they can easily be mistaken as one of the average people that they truly realize why it's important that they don't do that. And I think it's a very privileged mindset to sit up here and say, oh, well, I did it, you could do it too, when you have, number one, an incredible talent in your hands that not everybody has. And three, if we talking about like rappers and athletes, y'all were put in certain positions at a very young age to set y'all up for success. Not everybody has that community around them that's going to invest in their potential. And one thing that the older I get to, that I start to like lean into more, is the W.E.B. Du Bois sort of thinking. And like as a HBCU student, you start to get into these conversations of, do you agree with W.E.B. Du Bois or do you agree with Washington? Mm-hmm. And I feel like the older I get, I'm starting to agree with more of W.E.B. Du Bois in the talented 10th, because there is a group of black people that's in the top 10 that is incredibly rich, incredibly smart, or all of these other things. And those are the ones that's supposed to be sort of like the guardians of the community. But instead of being the guardians, you motherfucking coon ass sellouts is the main people that's exploiting us and doing foul ass shit. Yeah. Like, and it's crazy because I think if you had a really good idea and you really showed people that you really gave a fuck, we would support you 110.
I think that's one thing black people have always shown, though, is that our faith, our loyalty, our dedication to standing behind something has been there. Yeah. Anytime people need us to rally and they call on us, we there. We stand 10 toes down. And I just feel like that's the reality that defeats the purpose when we have these sellouts. Is I can't stand 10 toes down if I know somebody behind my back is undoing all the work that, you know, I'm doing. And I think that's the reality for what we like to call the average person, because if we're doing what we can on a level that's honestly only so far that we can go, and you have the top 10 that are doing absolutely nothing, or they're doing everything that's counterintuitive to what we're trying to accomplish, and they have way more access, way more resources, way more time to make it happen, and way greater impact, which one is going to last longer? Exactly. Which one is going to be more impactful? Exactly. And that's and the thing too is incredibly frustrating, because I was just seeing something, and we'll get into what I was watching later in this episode, but one of the girls on the show was just like, you know, black folks don't necessarily support each other and stuff like that. And that is like the biggest lie ever told in history, because of the simple fact, like, if it's good quality, if it's something that is well sought after, we're gonna support. Yeah. A lot of y'all that be complaining that the community don't support y'all is because y'all trying to upcharge some shit, resell it, and scam us for shit that we could get elsewhere way more affordable. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? You got to make your money back. You got to make your money back, but within reason. And on top of that, if it's something cheap and not well made. Because you want to know what's funny? You want to know what's funny? Because I was like ordering some clothes earlier today, and I'm like, you know, this girl I went to high school with, she got a little boutique. I've been following her for a while, but I ain't really never got a chance to support it. Mm-hmm. Why the fuck am I looking at fucking cheap ass Shein shit on your site for $60? And then I go to Shein and that shit is $12. That's what I'm saying. Like, I get it. You have to make a resale. You do. I mean, you have to make a profit. So it has to have resale value. So right. I get that. You have to figure out a way to make profit. But if you know that you got to shell out way more money and upcharge hella to even make a profit, go back to the drawing board, figure out a new business, because selling clothes ain't for you, Bookie. Literally, like, what
What the fuck? And that's what.
And then you want to get mad at me like I'm not supporting you because I'd rather go spend the $12 versus the $60. Make it make sense. And I just was thinking about probably the worst sellout experience or encounter that I've had. And I know I talked about it before, but with that, I think it just goes back to the point that you was talking about with the black women. Sometimes I don't know if it's because you a sellout or if you was a fucking hater.
Y'all are haters.
But you need to go look in the mirror and figure out which one you is. Because whichever one you are is counterproductive to the advancement of us as people.
You bitches is haters. Why are you walking around in fucking Louis Vuittons and you fucking selling Shein?
I don't think that make a lady a hater.
You wouldn't wear the shit.
Because I mean, look, this is so.
If you wouldn't, personally, if I had a clothing boutique, if I wouldn't put this shit on, if I wouldn't wear it on a regular basis, I'm not selling it.
That's true. I think the girlies from they boutiques be wearing their stuff,
and that's the problem. All of y'all not fucking fashionistas. Sit the fuck down. Go do some hair. Go do some makeup.
Everybody ain't hairdressers or makeup artists either. And that's a different discussion, but we need to get into that.
Well, you better go ahead and be a receptionist.
I don't know. I just feel like
do something because not all, like, just because you're cute doesn't mean that you're a fashion girl. And I'm not saying like
we gotta get into this.
We gonna get into it later, but I'm not saying that you gotta fucking, you know what I'm saying, be this high-end fashion person or this person that really does the most, because I feel like you're very fashionable, but your style is different than my style. Anyway, the point being, all of y'all are not meant to be in certain areas that you're in, and you're wondering why it's not working for you. It's because it's not for you.
And I just think, though, on that note, you become a sellout in that regard when you really to throw sacrifice everybody else around you to make that shit happen. And it's like, that'd be weird to me because a lot of these girls who be doing that already have friends that are doing it and they're not supporting their friend.
Literally.
Like, they instead buy from other people, buy from somebody, buy from these larger companies, turn around, start their own shit, but whole time knew they had a friend for 5 years that's already been doing it. Yeah. Where is the support? Where's the hustle? Where's the, the loyalty? Like, I just think.
And that's the thing too. I think a lot of people get into certain avenues and stuff because they like, oh, I could do it better. And it's like, you think that, but once you in it and you start to see some of the complexities of it, it's a lot harder. And on top of that, like in the situation that you presented where it's like these girls are your friend may be doing something and then you hop in the same lane as her, it's like, why not ask her like, what is your thoughts, or you know what I'm saying, try and get into the nitty gritty of it before you hop into it, because a lot of y'all be kind of trying to undercut the next bitch when y'all could be collaborating with her.
So I want y'all to stay tuned for Culturama's episode on Guide to Being a Girl's Girl, because it's clear that some of you crusty hoes need it.
And I'm tired of people throwing around, I'm a girl's girl. No, you're not.
So we're going to give y'all a real guide to being a girl's girl.
We're going to let you know for real. If you a girl's girl, you going to know by the end of that episode. That's definitely,
you'll know if you're a girl's girl by the end of that one.
We gotta let them know what's up with it, because sadly mistaken.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think that when it comes to sellouts, it's like, we need to do a better job of holding motherfuckers accountable when they sell
calling
us
folks out. And
like,
calling folks out about it. Yeah. Don't what you got to lose? You ain't on their payroll.
Which is gonna push us into our next topics, which is these sellouts that we've been hearing about, which is the reason why we want to do this.
Exactly.
I think that I really want to start with Auntie Tab. I'm sorry, Auntie Tab.
This one kind of hurt me, though.
This one did hurt me.
This one did hurt.
Essentially, what was going on is, in the wake of fucking Trump and the Orange Man doing all of these different rollouts, Tabitha Brown, who we know has gotten her fame off of social media.
Well, pause, because what you was talking about, friend, was him revoking
the
requirements of DEI.
Yes, I'm gonna get there.
And then go ahead.
I'm gonna get there. Okay. So Auntie Tabitha Brown, who is most commonly and most popularly known for her videos that she would make giving people, food tutorials, words of encouragement. Right. She just really has this great auntie vibe. At this point, she's been around for about 5-6 years.
She recently did like apparel.
She got books.
Care.
She got cookbooks.
Yeah. We just got some of her hair products from Essence.
Yeah. So in this, holistic health business that she has now launched, a part of that is the hair care, and she's partnered with Target. Mm-hmm. And now in the wake of the Orange Man's rollbacks, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion for people who don't know, because I'm tired of hearing DEI and nobody actually knows what that means.
Clock it.
Has rolled those back and pretty much put a halt on all things on the federal level pertaining to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And because of that, Target, who Miss Tabby Brown is partnered with, also released a statement that they will be following in federal jurisdictions' footsteps with halting all of their DEI programs. And so you know what Miss Brown do? She gets her ass on the internet in front of the cameras, and in response to people who are upset at Target, who is getting rid of these initiatives, she gets up there and she says, no, don't boycott Target, because that's going to hurt me, and that's going to hurt my pockets and all the other small business owners that are in Target. It's going to hurt me. So don't boycott Target. Keep buying, even though they said, fuck you, fuck your people, and all the history that y'all have too. And you're a sellout.
That in conclusion, what I think happened was that when Target seen the backlash from it, they reached out to her, because it wasn't just her, it was other folks as well, but she was, I think,
it wasn't just her. It wasn't just her, and I do want to make that clear. I think you're right,
but it was also, I think her name is Melissa, and I actually met her during Essence, and she is over the lip bar.
Okay.
She also did a video as well.
But I think that the problem that I have with that just goes back to what it is that we're talking about, is you want to pander to me as your supporter to uplift you and to continue to put money in your pockets while I'm slowly limiting my ability to be able to get equity in certain spaces, limiting my ability to get access, the reality is too, I think people have complete misconceptions when they hear DEI. Every time anybody hears DEI, they automatically assume black, and that's not what that means.
No.
And so I think that's the annoying and frustrating part when it comes to this. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And instead of, which I think is something that when we previously talked about this, what she could have done was taken her business elsewhere, recognized her power, recognized her influence, recognized the fact that you have been placed in this awkward position of, are you going to take care of yourself in this moment, or are you going to stand for your entire culture and your people? You chose yourself, and I just think that's whack and that's selfish, and it once again is counterproductive and counterintuitive for all the progress and all the sacrifices people have made.
And the thing about it is, like, I just feel that a lot of black people, black creators like Tabitha Brown and things like that, think that they need these corporations to support them. They need them to take them to the next level. You don't. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it just irritates me that it's like you working so hard to keep these big corporations in your pocket, but once again, it's our community that even put you in these positions to where you can even have partnerships with these big communities.
Right.
Because if it wasn't us that was supporting your business, us tuning into your videos, us making you go viral every other week so that these other groups can start getting involved and seeing what it is that we're latching onto, you wouldn't be the person that you are. You wouldn't have the business that you have, and you wouldn't even be able to sell it to big corporations like Target, who in reality, in the next few years, if they don't feel like your brand is doing something for them, you're getting the fucking axe. And then you have sold out your whole community for a short period of time with impacts and implications that last way past your lifetime. It's fucked up and it's whack to me.
Anyway, like I was saying, the reason why Tabitha Brown and all of these other black creators were even able to get a meeting with a company like Target is because you had the numbers from your community to present in that meeting. Yep. And the fact that you can't even speak up for yourself and say, you know what, I respect that, you know, you guys came to me and asked me to put out a statement regarding the backlash. However, it is against my moral judgment to do so and take your shit elsewhere.
I would say against moral judgment and the principles and mission that my company has in line. Because at the end of the day, I don't know. I just feel like you have to. Let me rephrase this. I think the better way to say this is I respect businesses and specific initiatives who are focused on the advancement of the black community. Yeah. So if I know in your mission it specifically states that you want to uplift, protect, this is for the black community, I have more respect for you. And I just think that people need to start understanding, whether you're a company, whether you're an entity, or whether you're an individual, you are marketing yourself as well as people are marketing to you. So if your principles, your morals, or if it doesn't align with your business, why are you doing work with them?
And if you have the sales to be in a company like Target, I don't know. I just feel like you would have the sales and even more profit if you were to go independent and sell the shit off of your own website. Before ColourPop was in fucking Ulta, I ordered that shit online. Before Super Scent was as successful as she was, you could go and get the crayon case directly from her website. Same with Beauty Bakery. Same with the Lip Bar. Same with all of these other corporations. And the reality is you have more leverage than you think. Yeah. They're taking a profit out of every shit you sell. Why not say, you know what, respectfully, I can take this elsewhere, continue my production like I've been doing, and not have to pay y'all anything.
Yeah, I just think it's like, once again, if you don't stand for something, you're gonna fall for anything. Right. And for me, that was a prime example of it. But it's also always interesting to me for, like, do you know that you're selling out? Are you making this conscious decision to sell out? Because with Uncle Snoop, it's like you made the conscious decision to sell out.
I think it's
explain what happened with that.
Well, okay, so with Snoop Dogg, he and Nelly and a few other people were invited to perform at Trump's Liberty inauguration ball or whatever the case may be, and him along with a couple other entertainers decided to perform. And the reason why everybody was on Snoop ass is because when it came to Trump's first term, he put out a video calling anybody and everybody that performed at his inauguration a coon. And so fast forward to 2025, you're doing the exact same thing. And I think he did know that he was making the conscious decision.
Yeah, he knew he picked up his tap dancing shoes.
But at the same time, you know, he responded with a video saying, you know, well, I'm still black and this and that. And it's like,
are you?
Yeah, you're still black, but like nobody really had a choice in whether or not they wanted to be black or not. Right. But we do have a choice in the morale that we have and also the decisions that we make. And you chose to make a decision to take whatever money they was fucking giving you and perform, even though you know specifically that a lot of the policies and the supporters of this person would probably lock your ass up or kill you.
It's just at what point do your integrity becomes worth more to you than anything physically or financially you can obtain? Because at the end of the day, it's like for somebody like specifically Snoop Dogg that I've looked up to for so long, just just in the simple fact that he's been able to have such a long career in which I felt like he was presenting as his authentic self, all of that work that you've done to create that image has been erased off completely. That one simple thing. I don't even want to hear Snoop Dogg's name no more.
Yeah,
Nelly, I can't even be happy that you and Ashanti is finally going off into the sunset, because now you making my girl look like a fool because she gotta fucking be up there and support you too. And what she choosing to do, but
and I think it goes beyond skin tone, and the fact that he published a video saying like, I'm still black. No, you're
I think
not.
that just is proving our point, is that they keep people who are celebrities, who know their influence, know their power, know their specific audience who is giving them the celebrity that they have in the first place. They can pander to that. They can use the fact that they are this skin tone, and they think that that makes them have leverage. But at the end of the day, you heard what your grandma said, all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Literally.
And when you show yourself you was not kinfolk, I can't do nothing with you, boss.
And y'all see how the baby changed his tune. And I think, I really hope that as black people, we do start to know our worth and know, okay, you know what? I'm not going to shop there. I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying, give these people my money and this and that, because like, we have everything we need. Everything you could ever possibly need is within your grasp and within your community.
Yeah. And
which would you rather pay for? Convenience or your fucking soul? Which would you rather, you know what I'm saying? And the thing that I really,
I'm just kidding.
The thing that I really feel like
no, I'm just kidding.
Is irritating about this whole thing is that there's this, I guess, idea when it comes to this, that when people are in fucked up situations, they're going to create a sense of delusion that doesn't places blame or fault on them. How many motherfuckers you know that's living in shitty ass conditions, but is on social media talking about, I ain't never had I'm really that nigga on God, I'm really him. Like, no, you're not. Your kids aren't well taken care of. Like, it's a lot of people that try and like, make up for the fact that, or make sense of the situation that they're in, and try and swing it as best they can, because there really is only one explanation, and that's that you're a fucking coon for doing that shit. And instead of owning it, you're gonna try and make it make sense.
But what I've been seeing too, what I was gonna say is, what I've been seeing too is just a bunch of like old photos from the civil rights movement, where they're literally signs that when they're protesting, that says, don't shop where you will not be hired.
Literally.
It's as simple as that. And it's just like, if you won't be hired there, why are you giving them money? Why are you giving them your money?
Right.
If you know you won't be treated respect there, why is that somewhere that you going?
Facts. And I think, it goes without saying, like, I think a lot of people know exactly what they're doing. They're not naive to the shit. They're only doing it because greed.
And just a reminder too, I think they said it took Hitler 58 days to overthrow Germany and instill the Third Reich. Yeah, so that's the path that we're looking on, because what we have, sellouts. When you selling yourself out, you selling your people out, and you blindly following, you're falling for everything.
And it's like, you don't even have to like just go with everything. Do your research and then follow up with facts, because they're hoping you don't.
But I just feel like it's the bystander effect. You get what I'm saying?
Like, they're benefiting off of your ignorance
by the bystander effect. I just think that, once again, it's so you know what the bystander effect is, right?
Well, refresh my memory.
So like, it's that whole ideology of, for example, if I'm seeing somebody getting bullied, this person that's bullying that person, beating their ass down to the ground and not keep on walking, I'm enabling that system.
Yeah.
I'm adding to it because I haven't did anything to disrupt it. I haven't done anything to stop it. I didn't even stop and acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But if I'm saying, hey, or if I'm calling authorities, or if I'm stepping in to break that shit up, I'm acknowledging that the bully is wrong. I'm acknowledging that there's a victim here, but I'm also acknowledging that I have my own power to interject and influence the situation. And I feel like that's what a lot of people, they know, but they it's like they play both sides of the coin. It's like when it's convenient for them, they understand the power and the influence that they have, i.e. Snoop getting on his platform talking about I'm still black, Tabitha saying keep buying from Target even though they said fuck y'all. Like, you know your power, but then you turn around and you completely negate that with saying, well, it's out of my control and there's really nothing that I can do about it, and you're not really you're not hurting and doing what you think that you're doing. Yes, you are.
Yes, and at the end of the day, and to wrap this topic up, which side of history do you want to be on? That's really what it comes down to. Do you want to be on the side of history that, you know, I did what I had to do, you know what I'm saying, to get where I'm at? Or you want to be on the side of history where I stood up for what was right? It's not that hard.
Big facts. What you been watching, friend? Let's get into it, because I feel like we've been watching some shit and that falls under sellouts.
Yeah.
Let's get into wags to witches.
Recently, there was a lot of like buzz around wags to. It's so weird to say that. Wags to riches.
WAG stands for wife and girlfriends.
So these are the wives and girlfriends of top athletes, entertainers, and things like that. Kodak's baby mama is on there. Ocho Cinco's girlfriend is on, or ex is on there. You know, Tyreek Hill, his wife is on there. It's all the I'm not really too good with the athletes, so it's a lot of them on there. Anyway, it kind of follows the lives of these groups of women and just what their day-to-day life is. And overall, I felt like it was very Mean Girl.
I would give it.
What would you rate it out of 10?
I'm giving it a solid 4.
A 4?
Yeah, I'm giving it a 4 because, and I does think it goes past just the wags. I think that's so funny. Whoever came up with wags, that's hilarious. But literally, I think it goes past that for me, because I just felt like a lot of the issues that I had with it came as a result from production, the way it was edited, just the way it was filmed. Seems that it was geared towards one person, and it didn't really have a equal approach of diving into all of these ladies' storylines. And
who's that one person you say?
What's her name? Sherelle.
So
Sherelle, that's Ocho Cinco's ex-fiance now, and I think it was interesting because now I follow Ocho Cinco for a while. I mean, he used to be a Bengals player, former Bengals player. Yeah, he did a lot for our little team while he was there. So I've been following Ocho Cinco for a while. Chad Johnson, for those who don't know Ocho Cinco, but you should. Anyways,
wait, pause. I remember as a kid, I was like, why is his name Ocho Cinco? He's black.
I literally remember when he changed it from Chad Johnson to Ocho Cinco, and we was like, Ocho Cinco? Why would he want to get rid of his name and wear numbers?
But he was number 85.
He was 85. He's always 85.
I just thought it was funny, but like as a kid, I didn't know no better.
Yeah, and my dad was I thought it was dumb. I was like, why is he changing his name to Ocho Cinco? Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Because, I mean, we grew up, we only knew him as Chad Johnson. So.
And I asked my dad, I said, is he like Spanish or something? Like, why would he? But, yeah, I do feel like the show was kind of centered around Sherelle. They didn't really
very Mean Girl though.
Yeah, they didn't really have too many moments where they were like in the lives of all the other girls, but there were moments for her
the
there.
way they did Stoney. So Stoney is the former girlfriend of Rick Ross, one of his baby mamas, and
I think she also was married to a few other people, but I think a few athletes.
Yeah, she might have dealt with. She's most known for her situation with Rick Ross.
Yeah, I don't know the other dudes.
Essentially, what happened was Rick Ross was feuding with 50 Cent. This was a few years ago.
Yeah,
Rick Ross was feuding with 50 Cent. And to try to one up him, 50 Cent drops revenge porn, pretty much sex tape of Stoney and whoever else that she was with at that time.
Her ex-boyfriend.
Okay, her ex-boyfriend. And so what Stoney does in response to that is she sues the fuck out of 50 Cent like she should, and she got a bankroll.
A bankroll.
No, I'm kidding. And they was on her ass though because they just felt like she squandered her fortune, and to me it just gave jealous bitch. Yeah. Because they tried to preface it as, well, I just don't like her, and I just don't like the circles that she run in, and her reputation isn't good. I don't want to be associated with that type of reputation. And come to find out, no, you're just mad that she had a great come up that you probably felt like she wasn't deserving of. However, she was a victim. She didn't work for it. And when she chose to spend her money the way she chose to spend it, you was mad because you didn't feel like she should have spent it that way.
Yeah. And all in all, I feel like, Sherelle, I watched her on Selling Tampa, which I felt like was a really good show, and I was wondering why they didn't get a second season, because they did get approved for one, but then it pops out with this show. So I'm wondering if instead of doing a second season of Selling Sunset, that she ended up doing Wags to Riches, because at the end of the day, she was the main person that was kind of advocating. She's the broker of Allure Realty and stuff like that. But all in all, I feel like they prejudged Stoney. I liked Sade. I felt like she was very sweet and stuff like that. And I felt like it was this over the top sort of thing with Sherelle about, I work hard for my money.
I just feel like that was for her a way to deflect any accountability. Yeah. Anytime anybody called her out on any bullshit of her behavior, her actions, or the language that she would use to express herself, it would just come back to, well, I have to make money and I have a business and this isn't making me any money. But it's like, well, you told old girl business that shit wasn't making you no money either, but you did it. Literally. When you sat here and you prejudged Stoney about her reputation and shit that you seen on Google, that wasn't making you no money, but you did it.
Clock it.
And don't even get me started on.
She is one of those people that really is like, I'm above this, I make too much money, but still be doing low life shit.
I just feel like I don't like people who want to put themselves on a pedestal like they're above. But whole time, once again, this show is called Wags. Wives and girlfriends,
not boss bitches.
We don't know you for your realty business. At least I don't.
Well, and I did know her.
But the thing about it is, though, even before Selling Sunset or Tampa, right? Whichever. Selling Tampa, that's the one.
She's so funny. Sunset is from Sunset Boulevard in LA.
I don't watch none of them shit, so I don't know. But whichever before the Selling something shit, whichever selling you sell. Look, Selling Souls, bitch. Before that dumbass shit. I'm for real. Like, that's
Selling Souls, bro. You're out of pocket.
That's what it gives, because it's like she panders to these young girls. Hey, I'm gonna put you in a position to make money,
and she
even
said that. She was saying, like, all the bottle girls, retired strippers come to Allure Realty, and it's like,
but then she'll turn around and she'll throw that up in your face and use that against you, as if that didn't, as if she wasn't in that position too.
But it's funny as fuck, because as they say that, they cut to MJ. Like, was she a bottle girl or something? Is that how she met Kodak Black? Like,
I'm dead.
What the fuck? Like, clock it.
But I don't know. It's just irritating me because most people didn't know her just based off her real estate business.
Yeah. And even in Selling Tampa, she was promoting that she was the girlfriend of Ocho Cinco.
Even in Selling Tampa, you got that show based off your proximity to who?
Yeah.
And I just think that was the slap in the face, and she wanted to just keep, I have a business and I'm this and I did that. But it's like, babes, you're not on this show about your business.
Yeah,
this is about you being a girlfriend, going to fiance, and now with fucking ex, because that's what you are. But
and bitch, I just feel like I hate a bitch that act like her shit don't stink. Bitch, we smell the shit on your shit.
And at the end of the day, too, the thing that just gave me and you know this because we watched it together.
Yeah.
But when we watched it and they were her and Ocho Cinco was meeting with their lawyers to talk about their prenup, that shit turned me all the way off. I'm sorry, it rubbed me the wrong way because I just like. And I remember telling Mazani this. I'm like, this feels like a business transaction. Like, this doesn't...
my government. No.
Put it out there.
Continue. No, that's funny as shit.
Sorry, I know her as Mazani. Y'all know her as Mizzy the Maker.
It's doing a soft rebrand.
But when we was watching this together, I just remember looking at it and like at first I feel like you was more on the side of like I get why she doing this, like you gotta be business minded and
not even that. I just thought it was like savage as fuck that she was gonna get $3 million of alimony every year. Like
it just rubbed me the wrong way because it's like I'm not gonna go into a prenup. I know, and once again I know this kind of sounds contradictory, but I just feel like for me, if I do have assets, I do understand the importance of having a prenup. However, I'm always going to leave with love first. And I just felt like she was very uncompromising, very unwavering in a lot of ways. And it was almost with this anticipation of them eventually getting this divorce. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was weird because if I'm getting married, we're going to sign and do this prenup just to make sure our basis is covered because guess what? You can never say never. But I'm going to make sure that shit is in the space that we are in now, which is supposed to be love, light, fairness, and equality.
I don't know. I think for me, she just gave like very selfish and like narcissistic. She was selfish as fuck. Like I feel like anytime she like when they had did the scene where she was talking about the affordable housing, she was like, "Would a mean girl do that, girl?" That ain't got shit to do with you being a mean girl.
But it's like you these mean girls do
a deal, a money making deal for yourself. A mean girl's gonna do whatever she gotta do to get to the bag, and that's exactly what you did.
I ain't gonna say that. I just feel like a mean girl's not gonna care about whose feelings that they hurt. And I feel like low-key mean girls go out of their way to make somebody else feel small because for them that's what gives them validation.
I just think she has this like,
and I feel like that's what she was doing. It was like I'm better than you. She was like
did this and like
invalidating people a lot, like just nitpicking and going off of irrelevant shit. And that was a point that I made, like, if you want to go off a reputation, stony reputation, we can go off your reputation. We don't know you. The only reason majority of people know you is because you're dating an athlete. We know that you opened your legs and you popped out these babies
before getting married.
And that you've also been married, she said twice before she was engaged to Ocho Cinco. So I just feel like, if you want to play that I just feel like if you want to play that reputation game, it's all subjective, and you want to take bits and parts of people's reputations and use that against them, but people can take bits and parts of your reputation and use
do
that
the
against
exact
you.
Same thing.
So I don't know. I just feel like when it comes to her, it's like, look at everything that I've done, but she only want to nitpick at certain shit, and then she has her followers and enablers that feeds into that mentality.
And I feel like a lot of the girls were kind of her minions because they either worked for her or were like friends with her or they respected her in a certain light. So I just didn't really care for it. I feel like MJ was the only one that really kind of spoke up to certain things. And overall, like, I wouldn't mind if they had a second season. I feel like
I don't want another season. Keep it. Unless y'all gonna, bring in more people.
I would probably rate it like a 5 though. Like I would rate it a 5. But what I will say is I would like to see a second season, but I would like for some of the girls to kind of mix up in like different casts.
If it is a second season,
a different place.
I want a different place.
Because Atlanta, I feel like would do good with a show like that.
I agree with that. I want a different place. I want more people to it.
Yeah.
Just like a different variety of people, because you can tell that they all run in the same social circle for the most part, and that's okay. But it's like, once again, it was like Sherelle friends and then one or two people to just kind of mix it up, just to not be gangish.
And I think, I was gonna say this earlier. When it came to the whole Stony shit, she tried to make it seem like she buried the hatchet, and then brings her friend that's a designer to kind of drag her.
Mean girl.
And like,
what else do you call that?
And it's not like you're saying it, but it's like, clearly this is your friend. So you've kind of gave him the rundown of how you feel about the girl. And so he has these negative connotations about her. Yeah. And like, I get that dude was probably trying to like help her out, but it did seem kind of mean spirited, because before she even got out there, they were kind of talking shit about her items and stuff like that. And earlier when I was saying like, black people don't support us and stuff like that, Stony was the girl that said that. But it's like, looking at her rack of stuff, babes, all of that shit is on Fashion Nova.
Which goes into what I'm saying. If I can get that shit from Fashion Nova from cheaper, why should I get it from you?
But other than the fact
that you're black.
I will say this though, Sherelle friend at his boutique has some good shit. He had some good. Hey, that dress he put out that Sherelle tried on was.
He said that Beyonce had that on. Fire.
It was
fire.
Snatched.
Fire
to perfection.
I don't know. I just felt like it is a great show in theory, but it's got some work that it needs. It got some work. I will say is, even though I don't care for a second season, if they was to have a second season, I would tune in, because I felt like, hate to say it, but when they do come to Sherelle and Ocho Cinco, I just think they never really made it clear why they broke up. So if they're gonna dive into that, I do want to see that, and that would be the only reason why I tune in. Other than that, though, I
feel like she the type of bitch she's not gonna dive into.
Exactly. But I just felt like the episodes was too short. Like, when we watch our reality TV, we used to, but they don't do that with Love Is Blind.
That's a little bit different. Because it's different it's like different.
But my point is, it's still another reality show.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna do a reality show, give it a little bit of length. I mean, they only had 8 seasons, and then on top of that, the episodes was only 30 minutes. I just felt like, for what the time they had, they should have done more.
But it's also, though, this is their first season, and I think they were trying to like wet the palate with it, if you will. And that's what they did, 30-minute episodes. Also, let's see what it's talking about and keep it pushing.
We're going to acknowledge, but not going to acknowledge. What's that girl name? Yes, Jules. Is that her name? Jules.
I'm glad that motherfucker was banging on her head like a drum.
Yeah,
because she was fucked up. And anybody that wants to defend her and wants to say she was right in that situation, she wasn't. Because instead of getting the fuck up and walking away when that girl was antagonizing her, she sat there and tried to act like, oh, well, you're not gonna do okay. But I know one thing for sure, if I got a lot of shit that I got going on, I'm not finna let nobody sit up here and rattle me for they 15 seconds. You're not finna get no type of clout off of me. I'm gonna remove myself from the situation. And I think she wanted to go tit for tat.
I just want to know, what was her purpose for being on the show? It's like, I'm tired of what's happening.
I think they have to have
this one token white person. Yeah. Like, why do we always have to have a token white person in our inherently black shit?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like,
y'all could have got Y'all could have got Larsa.
Do a show like that?
Y'all could have got Larsa for that.
But I'm crying. But it's just so many different.
Not that I'm a fan of Larsa, but I'm just saying, like, she was on Real Housewives of Miami, and I feel like she would have gave y'all what y'all was looking for, more so than Jules, because I feel like Jules is a person that's racially like ignorant.
But that was the point, and I felt like that was the entire reason for them even bringing her on the show, is to add that type of, like, I don't know, tension in it. Maybe. But it's like, why Why? You could have actually brought real bitches on here that had real beef with each other outside of this, and all it took was to go outside of the circle that y'all have already implemented, and I feel like that was the problem.
Yeah, so, I felt like they was kind of reaching, but all in all, if you haven't watched it, I would say watch it. Let us know what y'all think. Yeah. For us personally, it was kind of hard to watch at certain points because some of the girls just wasn't giving what they thought they gave. Yeah. The outfits were cute sometimes. A lot of them couldn't really dress, but
and I'm sorry, I'm tired of the copy and paste light skinned girls.
Ditto. We need to mix it up. And anyway, moving on to question of the motherfucking day. Shancy, how much would it take for you to sell the fuck out? Meaning, like, how much would somebody have to offer you to pretty much go against the overall benefit of your community? You got to give me a number. You can't say.
She said, what the fuck? Yes. I know, just kidding. I gotta give a number. I can't though, because like the reality is I don't think there's no amount that could make me sell out. Like it'll have to be like some fantastical shit. Like if you could promise me an alternate universe where I can take me, all my peoples, and just kind of live how we want to live, you got me there. I ain't gonna lie, I'm out of here. If I could choose everybody that I want to be, and we go and we live and y'all deal with this shit, we out of here. Like
I can tell you my number. What's
your number, then?
I say 500 trillion a year. 500 trillion.
But that's my thing, though. It's like,
I would have to say something like that because I know nobody's gonna offer me that amount to do some wild shit, and even still I probably would renege and be like,
But I just feel like even with that amount of money, it's still only so much that you can truly do and truly have. Like if I was to sell my people out, I need to be able to fucking go to a fucking other dimension or something like that to be able to sell my people out. Like I need to be seeing something out of this world.
If you was to sell out niggas, I would literally be like, I can't believe you did that. Like I was saying, you know, when it comes to my family and my parents, they were very pro-black. Even bringing home a white boy would have probably sent my dad into outer space. Seriously. So for me to take any type of money to sell my community out, my dad would probably like lose his shit. So for me, I don't think there's no amount of money that anybody could sell me to like purposely like misguide or misrepresent my community, because I have too much integrity for that. And on top of that, like if white folks offer you some shit, 9 times out of 10 you could get 3 times that much doing it on your fucking own. And a prime example of that is Yeezy, when he said, you don't have the answers, Sway, you don't got all the answers. And later on, fast forward, he said Sway did have some of the answers. Because at the end of the day, he didn't need Adidas.
He didn't.
He could have just sold Yeezy as an independent brand, but instead he thought he needed the production benefits, the company's benefits of being with Adidas, and it didn't help.
I just think when it comes down to what you said is like, is it convenience over anything? And I do think that for a lot of times when black people make the conscious decision to fucking sell out, is because it's just more convenient for them to do so in that moment versus taking a little bit more time to work for it.
Because 9 times out of 10 in a couple years they're gonna drop your ass like a hot potato. Okay, so like I was saying, I feel as though when it comes down to it, you have to make the decision whether or not you're going to do it for you right now or you in the future. And that's just what I have to say on it.
I just think that what I would like to say on it is things are bigger than you.
Yeah.
There's more to life than you. And once you start to see past yourself and really looking at where you fit in into the larger scale of things, you can be able to understand the power that you have and what you can influence. And once again, you have a real look into the future because you'll be able to see past yourself and past your time on this earth. So there is nothing that'll make me sell out because I'm not here forever. Shit, tomorrow not even promised. So I want to put my best foot forward today and do what I can for my people today, because the reality is that's whoever only shown me that they give a fuck about me.
Facts. Like, and for the dudes that was in the hood that got it out, it was a black person that gave you grace. It was a black person that gave you a place to stay. It was a black person that gave you food. So at the end of the day, what do you want to be remembered as? When we look at the greats, when we look at some of the amazing people, all of them were faced with the same decision. Do I say fuck my community and get the bag, or do I, turn this down or shake shit up?
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about.
So all I know is I'm ready to get the hell out of Sellout Central. This was a long walk through it, and it just, ugh.
It's a horrible community to be in. It's a horrible neighborhood. I hate it here. Get me out of here.
And that was the 5th episode of Culturama.
We are signing out. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, do all that.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Culturama with your girl Shance
and your girl Mizzy. And then don't forget, this is Culturama, baby, where we bring the culture
and we bring in the drama.
Signing off.